So firstly, thank you for your time. I have a quick presentation, just a couple of slides to set the scene. Then I can do a live demo, and then we can open this up to questions from you guys. So I'll quickly step through the presentation. I won't spend too long on the slides. We'll do a quick intro, talk about the assistant, talk about the pilot we're trying to run, and what the requirements might be on you if you decide to take part in this particular pilot study. So these are just some slides. I mean, basically at the point across that AI is becoming more prevalent in healthcare. We see this as potentially a transformative capability within our products and intersystems. So as part of that, we have started to develop some AI-enabled feature sets within our products. And the one that we're going to do the pilot on with you guys is the AI assistant. And really, the AI assistant is a tool that allows you to quickly summarize a patient's record. So I think most of you know the clinical viewer that comes with the Big Sky HIE. In this case, what it will allow you to do is to have predefined prompts that allow you to create quick summaries of a patient's record kind of in your specialty space. So you might not be interested in going from screen to screen and seeing all the labs. You might only be interested in a certain set of them. So we have pre-built prompts, which we'll do in the live demo. I'll walk you through them. So these are pre-built prompts that allow you to create summaries containing the sorts of information that you might want. As well as the pre-built prompts, you also have the access to a free text intelligent chat interface. So that's where you can talk to the AI and ask, you know, when was the last immunization for the patient? When was the last full blood count for this patient? And will come from the AI tool. Talk about guardrails. We can talk about source traceability when we do the live demonstration. Have I lost you guys? Are you still there?
Still here.
Oh, sorry. Apologies. The screen froze on me. So when we do the live demo, I can walk you through some of these features. But as you use the tool, you can validate the information that you're seeing with the AI assistant back to the clinical record to kind of build confidence and to ensure that the responses are accurate. And it supports all of the role-based access and consent policies that you've already built as part of your Big Sky health information exchange work. In terms of the use cases, I usually put this up just to look at it in different areas, but really for this pilot, we're focused on individual patients, and we can talk about future pilots where we're looking at AI with population level work. But this pilot is really focused on individual patients and summarizations. So different summarizations in different care settings, for example, the emergency, handovers, outpatient, and general medical query answering. So if you want to ask a question of the assistant, you can do that and see how it behaves to find the information. What we sometimes call needle in the haystack queries, where you're just looking for one piece of info inside this very large record that exists for the patient. We term this a user experience or a pilot. So we try to do these with software before we release it. So we plan to release this in the next couple of weeks as a GA. But what we do want to do is run a pilot close to the release so we can start getting some feedback. So we get feedback from you guys if this works well, is it accurate, what would you change, is the UI okay, is the usability all right? So ways for us to get feedback from you, how we can improve the tool, or if there's any gaps in how we are managing the AI in terms of its source traceability, or in terms of any guardrails you would expect from a clinical setting that an AI tool should have when you're using it with patients. For the pilot, if you're to partake in the pilot, first off, we have an onboarding session, and this kind of ties into that, right? So it's a session in a forum where we step through the solution, we answer questions you might have. If you then decide, yeah, you want to go ahead with this, we will provide you with some training material. Now, the training material is very light touch. I'm talking maybe 1 page or 2, or maybe a small video if you elect to watch it. The tool itself is relatively intuitive, so we would expect that you'd pick it up pretty quickly when you start using it. The pilot will run for about 6 to 8 weeks. So you will have access to the AI assistant as part of your standard login to the Big Sky HIE. So it will be a little tab on your current viewer that you have where you can go to the tool and you can use the AI assistant. At the end of that 6 to 8 weeks, we will then remove the tool from your production environment, so you won't have it anymore when you see patients. And we would ask you to complete an exit questionnaire, which will take no more than about 10 to 15 minutes to complete at the end of the study. We also have a mechanism where you can give live feedback to the AI tool. So we would ask again, if you're using the tool, if you find it helpful or not helpful, that you indicate that on the tool, and we will be monitoring that real time in the background to make sure that the tool is accurate and behaving itself from there. So I was going to dip into a live demo now to show you the tool, and then I was going to open it to questions, but I can stop here if anybody has anything they want to discuss.
Nothing here.
Okay. Let me get the tool here and we have a look. So this is just a demo environment that we use sometimes. Okay. So I'm just going to find a patient for this. Now, when this is embedded in your viewer, I don't know how all of you access it, but a lot of the time we see that the HIE or the health share is typically embedded in your source EHR as an icon. So we will use single sign-on so that this will work just like the viewer does. It'll be embedded inside it. So this is the UI that you will have available to you within your clinical viewer. So on the left, you will have a set of prompts that will have been predefined. So they'll already be done for you, predefined prompts that you can use. You can indicate your favorite ones or remove those from your favorites that you don't want anymore. So typically when we've done other pilots, the first use case is somebody will have a set of prompts they like to use when they first see a patient, like give me a nephrology summary for this patient. So what happens now in the background is we take the data for the patient from your unified care record or your Big Sky HIE. We then filter it. So we take the data out that's required as part of this prompt. We then compress it into a structure that makes sense for a large language model, and we pass it to a language model with the prompt, which I'll show you in the background, and that then sends us back a summary in this format. So in this case, I've asked it for a nephrology summary. I'll show you how these are defined in a few minutes. So I've asked it to give me the demographics for the patient, any renal-related diagnoses, any relevant lab results, the latest lab results that I'm interested in, the medications that the patient is on, again, that are relevant to my specialty, any imaging like radiology, etc., that will be of importance, and any kind of just general information like comorbidities or any trends that the AI is seeing in the patient's record. So these summaries will be available to you, and you can have, we'll work on making sure that we have the appropriate summaries for you. Once you have once you've completed the response, so once the AI comes back at a response, you can do a few things, right? So you can see the source of the data, so what was sent over. So if I want to, I can now see, okay, I want to validate that the allergies that I'm seeing listed up here, for example, or the medications are actually those that are in the record. So it will take the data that it has used for the large language model, and now you'll be able to link back to it to actually validate, okay, are the medications in the patient's record against those that I'm seeing in the model. So this will just open up your viewer where you can validate any information here, just to give you the confidence that yes, what it's listing is actually what's actually in the patient's record. As well as kind of the source traceability on it, you can also, as I said, give live updates. So you might say, okay, that was useful, that was pretty fast and it was accurate, or you might decide, no, this wasn't very accurate. Missing labs, right? So if you do that, this will be stored in the audit log, and we'll be running reports in the background against each of these prompts to see if they're working or not working, need to be refined. And we'll also do the same thing for the free text query. So at the free text query, you can just ask questions. You can ask for a summary, just like I did with the default prompt, or you could say what the last EGFR, right? So you're only interested in one particular piece of information from the patient's record. You don't have to go through it. The system will go and find that for you. And I'm sure you'll be far more creative in the questions you ask than what I'm doing. But in this way, you can ask it for lab results that were missing, medications, compare the lab results against the meds that the patient recently had, and show me any trending. So you can ask those sorts of questions directly off the AI model. So that's the kind of front end. It's very lightweight, so there's not a huge amount to demonstrate. So I'll stop here for questions before I kind of show the back end capability, just in case anyone's interested.
I may have just a couple of super quick questions.
Sure.
So are these prompts, are they able to be established by the end user, or are they something that you have to build for us currently?
Currently, we build them, and that was an active decision we made. So when we trialed this with another site, we gave the ability for people to build prompts. I'll just show you the prompt builder here. And what we noticed was when the clinicians built prompts, sometimes the end user didn't fully appreciate the depth that you probably need to go into sometimes with a prompt to make sure you get the correct information back. So often we found they would build very terse prompts and expect very complex responses. When they didn't get the response back that they wanted, they felt that the AI tool was inaccurate, when in some cases it was because the prompt wasn't probably as verbose as it should be. So for version 1, we've decided to limit who can access the prompts. Now you can decide who has this capability, right? You might decide you have super users or whoever else to do this. But we've made it an administrative capability rather than every end user get it.
Perfect. You almost need an AI to help build prompts, which is actually what I think a lot of people do. But so then the next question, the only other question that I may have missed this, is this searching all free text, or is it only searching structured data? So you mentioned EGFR, which is a structured piece of tag data, but is it also reading through the free text data that's not structured yet?
That's a really good question. So version 1 on this is structured. So what you'll be piloting is structured data. We then have unstructured support coming at the end of the year. So depending on when the pilot finishes, we might look, Jeanette, to extend it to now include unstructured, or it might be a case of stop and then wait a while and then we bring the unstructured in. But version 1 is look at unstructured, and version 2 is to then incorporate structured. Vice versa. And again, the reason for that was when we did the initial pilots on this, patients' records are extremely large. It was a balancing act between getting the data you needed versus the cost that comes with using large language models. So while we decided to refine how we do the unstructured, we said we'd release the structured and then bring the support for the unstructured in a couple of months later. Has anyone any other questions? If not, I'll quickly step through some of the back-end stuff and then I'll open it up for general conversation. So this is the administrative window where you kind of control the AI tool. Our deployments is where we can pick what models you want to use. So you can use different models. So you might decide certain prompts should be used for certain models. So as an example, you might want a quick response for something simple like demographics, whereas if you have a very complex prompt, like you're looking for gaps in care or something like that, or screening programs, you might want a more complex thinking model. So you can use different models for different prompts. The prompt screen itself, we give you these ones out of the box, so you can use these. You can decide to hide them if they're not really of relevance to you, or you might decide to just to look at the nephrology one, edit it based on your requirements. So when I did this earlier, I would have selected just this phrase on the front screen. This is what you saw. Please generate a nephrology summary. But on the back end, the actual prompt is far more complex, right? So this is where it's telling it you're a licensed healthcare professional. I want the demographics. I want the renal related diagnoses. This is how the lab should display, what the reference ranges should look like. So the actual prompt in the background is far bigger, and that's back to the point you'd asked about. Can end users do this? So we find that if you put more effort into the actual prompt engineering, you get a much better response. We also have the ability to date range this, right? So I haven't put a date range here, but you might want to say I only want data for the last 30 days, 3 years, all time. And then you can pick what data should go across as part of this prompt. Now, because this was a general nephrology summary, I pretty much sent all the data for the patient across on the tool, but I will show you how we can do data minimization to make sure you don't send all the data across. And the rest of this really is role config, who gets access to it, that sort of thing. We also have a system prompt. So this is where the guardrails come in, and I'll show you this in the audit trail. So the system prompt kind of puts in the guardrails around, do not give medical advice, do not, act in a sensible way, don't back chat, that sort of thing, right? So this is where we add those guardrails around the tool itself. And we also have a system prompt for the free text analysis. So we have a system prompt that goes with everything, the predefined prompts, and then when you're doing the free text search, we can also add additional guardrails around that because people can ask all sorts of questions when they use the free text work. Role configurations I won't go into. It's really just where we define different types of roles, like you want maybe nephrologist, orthopods, primary care physicians, so you can define what prompts are given to those. The data definitions is where we define what data should go across to the model. So as part of a lab order, you have a lot of data. You have everything from who requested it, what was the reason, what was the priority. You might not want that data going to the model. So we've only selected certain data fields that might be relevant to lab results. Okay, and again, this is configurable by you guys. So you might decide, actually, we are interested in who placed the order. That's something we want to use in the model, so you can turn that on and out, that will go across. And again, this is a balancing act between not sending too much data so that you don't exceed context windows for large language models and costs versus sending the right data so you get the right sort of response that you want. So you can control all of the data that's sent across the model, complete granular control right down to the actual data item. The event log, this is the audit log that I spoke of. This captures all of your interactions. So in this case, I can see I was logged in as Sam Farrell, what role I was logged in as. This captures the patient, so we know who this is linked to, because you can decide not to send identifiable data across the model. You can decide not to send demographics. So this is the metadata. We have like how long the response took, what the response time was. We send the system prompt first. So that's always included in the prompt we send. Then we send the text. So what was the last EGFR? Now I haven't turned on the smart free text capability, so I sent across a lot of data here. But you see all of the data that's sent across the model, and you see the response that comes back, as well as any feedback you gave the tool, the model that was used, the tokens that were used. So all of that data is captured for you as part of the AI assistant, and that's exportable, and you can keep that. And the last piece, which isn't really of much interest, is the sources. So this is where we link what do you see when you want to see what source of data. So do you want to see the clinical viewer or reports or all of the patient data from there? And that really, in a nutshell, is the tool. So I'm going to open it up for conversation and to answer any questions you might have and see if anyone's interested in doing the pilot, which, Jeanette, we have an project update after this, but I think we're targeting the week of the 17th, possibly the week after if things get delayed, for when we would like to maybe start rolling out the pilot.
Are you talking November or December?
Oh, sorry, this month, November. We'll be ready technically, at least. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be next Monday.
That would be, what day is today? Is it the 10th?
Yeah.
Yeah. Monday or possibly the 24th, depending on testing, and we're a tiny bit behind in UAT, but yeah.
I don't have any questions, but yeah, I'd be happy to participate.
Great.
I'd definitely be happy to participate as well.
I think we would all, I know our team would be happy to participate.
Yeah, I think by you guys coming here, you had said you wanted to participate. So let me know if you don't want to participate after
Oh, yeah,
hearing
I
this.
should
How
have
about
framed it that way. That's how I should have framed it.
All right, great, Ken. Then I think we're done.
Cool. Okay. If anyone has any questions, by email will be on the invite, so feel free to reach out to me.
Or you can reach out to me as well. All right, thanks
Sounds good.
everybody.
Thank
So
you.
you'll
Thanks, Jeanette.
be
Thanks,
hearing
Ken.
for us to confirm when we're going to start the pilot. So stay tuned. Thank
Thanks,
you,
Jen.
everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
No problem at all, Janet. See you soon. See you.